Hi, I'm Sarah Jane from Natural Heating and I'm having a day out the office today. I came with my husband to see Bob and we dropped him off a Somersal stove in Cambridgeshire. He's about an hour and a half's drive from me as Bob on Sunday. Today's Wednesday and the stove was fitted by Bob's local installer yesterday. Now Bob has been a previous customer of mine for probably about the last 10-15 years and this is probably the first Clock Somersal to be fitted because they're only new released, and Bob's been good enough to say that I could go and video it in his house, and he just lives just down here, so he's straight on dead ahead of me and I'm really looking forward to this one. It's been a nice day as well, just a little. We're at Bob's. This is Bob's house here. He's got a beautiful log. Labour of love lawns are. There's Bob's log store, and I think Bob's done a fab job repurposing with these old bits for his new log store, because it's so in keeping with the building. It's lovely. You want to say hello? Go on.
My teeth on camera shot.
This is Bob.
Nearly every picture of him in the world's got a can of beer in.
Bob's been a customer of mine for what, about 15 years or something? Longer than that, yeah. Shows my age. I'm getting old. So we've been good enough to let it see his new Somersal, and the fitter fitted it yesterday and got it lit. And Bob's done the smoky bit and smoked the paint on, hopefully. But this thing is an animal. It really is an animal. So I don't know how much heat Bob's had out of it yet, but he's definitely...
I'm very impressed. Compared with what I've had before, it's absolutely super controllable already.
Oh, they are, yeah.
And I've only just learned.
Well, I brought you stickers for your dials.
Yeah,
I brought your cold touch handle that I made.
Yeah.
Brought your homemade cookies and stuff. So
Cool.
we'll get the stuff. So Bob's got his Somersal in now, and it's looking lovely. It's looking really nice. This makes it look like a small stove, but it's not. It's a bit of a monster. It's a big beast. So as you'll probably see from me, this is a great big, not the biggest, but it's a nice big angle nook fireplace opening. And it's probably about 1400 millimeters wide and about 1.2 high. This was fitted by a local company to Bob called Comfort Stoves, and they have heat shielded all the beam and everything else in there for him and told me what they were doing. They were really good. I spoke to them on the phone the other day. It needs an air vent, this stove, because it's a high heat output. He's got an air vent in the floor at the back, which they also kindly told me what they'd done and where they put it, and it's on a 6-inch liner system. Now Bob's had a brand new internet bought stove that he put in here November, he'll be back in a minute, and he wasn't happy with it at all, and he'd been waiting since last summer when I went to go and see James and the Clock Factory on the new Somersal coming out, and this thing is an absolute animal. James says that this stove is rated at 10 to 12 kilowatt, it'll do 14. Is a wee bigger than that. It's more like a heading up to a 20 kilowatt maximum. It really is a beast, and probably won't go less than about 7. It's big, it's powerful, it's pretty much a nuclear power station in its own right. So you need a big open plan house. Bob's got quite a big area in here, mainly uses the wood burner for heat. Loves his wood burner. Huge big old thick walls in here that take an awful lot of heating, and the house suffers badly with damp and things that's just in the walls that he can't shift and isn't going to. It's just Bob's house and Bob loves it, and do you know what, it's a nice house, and if you can heat it and he's happy here, then why not? How you doing, Bob?
Fine.
Yeah, well we'll light her up then and have a go.
Yeah.
It's about, I think he said it was about 16 degrees out there today.
Yeah, but his house is always colder inside than out.
I don't think it's cold.
No,
I think he said it was about 16 degrees earlier. But anyway, I got filthy dirty this morning on my first call. I mean filthy. So I haven't got a jacket or a jumper on because I was too dirty. It was embarrassing. I was as black. No, you're all right. I got a jacket in the car. I'm not cold anyway, and I think we're going to cook just shortly. So let's get it lit up. You've seen it in my shop, and you've seen it in the Clock Factory. Oops.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Link. Yeah. I didn't watch what I was doing, did I? So you seen it in the Clock Factory last year when I went to go and see them. So now we're seeing it in the flesh, and they had some test burns on this. The test fires went well yesterday.
Superb. Absolutely superb. Controllable even when you're only running for an hour. No problem, nothing escaping, and instant heat.
Yeah, but just a bit smoky when the paint bakes on. But then
Yeah,
that's what they do. There's a video that I've already done on that because they're quite nasty, smoky when some new stoves have their first burn. So in there, your stickers. You can put your stickers on your dials if you want. And you've got one of your removable handles that I made for the clocks in there. So I'll get some kindlings and fire lighters out. I brought my own stuff with me anyway. Because if we put it on kiln dry birch, then I know what I'm running on for lighting and test purposes. Yeah, because if I do them all on the same thing, so I'll use bits and won't use bits. But if we use them all on the same thing, we know sorted out. Yeah. Matches, all posh ones. We've got posh ones. How many stoves do you actually see that on? Made in Great Britain. That doesn't mean assembled in Great Britain. That truly means made in Great Britain. One of the few stoves that all the parts are made in the Great Britain, start to finish. It's all done here. They say they're made in Great Britain. What they do is they bring the bits in and then they build them in the UK, or they just assemble them. So the doors come in with no stoves on, they put the doors on, and cheekily they say they were made in the UK and they're not, they've just put a door on it, or the lining panels on the inside. And to me, that's not made in the UK. But Clock are one of the few. There's quite a fair handful of UK manufacturers that make good UK made stoves, and Clock are one of them. Clock are one of the leading ones in the UK. Just telling me about this bit. What that is this is the DEFRA screw, and because we're not in a smokeless zone, the fitter that's fitted this has told me he's taken the DEFRA screw out, so it'll have full amount of traffic. It's a great big stove, but we're still not going to go too crazy because these are 10-inch splits and they're not very big. That's about 2 inches by 3.5 on that one. I would say we've got a complete load here that is not anymore. We'll put that big one to the side and space it out. We're putting about 2 kilos in here tops in total content. So what we've got is we've got our logs in the bottom, kindling pile on the top, and this will light like an absolute treat because Bob's already tested it. It's had a few fires in it yesterday, but Clocks always do perform. They don't give us any trouble. So we'll put a fire lighter in there and get it lit. Okay. I locked it off. There we go. So we've got our, dials fully, both vents, bottom and top vent, fully open. I'll just leave the door slightly ajar for a little bit, give it a chance to take. Look at that, monster. It's that much of a monster and great big fireplace that there's easy, you can't see how big that is, there's easy a foot clear air gap at the back. So it is a great big deep fireplace. Isn't that pretty though, Bob?
I loved it.
That's the good thing about a fire like this. You don't need to burn a lot of fuel. Just because it's a monster big fire doesn't mean fill it up. But by stacking the way that we do it with small logs, much smaller ones than you burn with for a regular burn, and cutting your initial logs small, as it burns down from the top down to the bottom, creates a chunky ember bed layer. So you want to put as little fuel in as you can and reload once you're down to chunky red embers. Don't reload on half burnt logs because you've got half full firebox, you're burning 50% more. You wouldn't do that if it was £5 notes, so we don't do it with logs. Use what you've got first. Once you're down to absolute minimum, just enough to reignite, that's when you put your new logs in. Keeps you more comfortable, means you can burn it that wee bit hotter, as in faster speed, but less volume, still means you save a fortune in fuel. And if you don't need to put many logs in, because once you've got that chunky red ember bed, this is a bigger stove, so you may need 2 small logs, but like 2 small logs, like 1 kilo total, 1.5 at the most. It's not a big eater of fuel unless you want it to. Because if you want it to chuck out a load of heat, it will. We're only at about 60 seconds since I've lit that. That's been real time, and it's pulling away like a wee train. So we'll shut the door on it. And there she goes. It's as easy as that. There's not much to it. There really isn't. So it won't take long to establish all that. And you see the baffle, this bit up at the top, which is in 3 sections and slides in and out, so dead easy to replace. It'll go dark coloured because it's carbon until it gets up to temperature. So we just want to leave the air open for a bit until that starts establishing itself. But the logs are catching already, so it's off good guns. But cutting the logs the right size and not having them too large for starting and having a nice quick burning wood makes a big difference. So it's not been going long, but we're in full air and I can feel the heat welling out of it. So this is your secondary, which is your top air. Both air controls at the bottom, and this one's your primary, which is your bottom air. I'm just going to turn the bottom air off because we definitely don't need that anymore because the fire's properly established. And as soon as the baffle's clearing down, which is starting to clear already, and it's not even been 5 minutes. This has got some pull on it. That's it.
We noticed it on the trial yesterday, how much pull it had.
It's pulling like a flipping train. So it's pulling strong. Yeah. Given your other one didn't want to play, this is pretty incredible. So this is my removable door handle. It's got my removable door handle. But you'll find that a lot easier.
Yep.
But of course that's not going to get hot, so you can just take it off. Exactly. And if you want it the other hand, just take that screw out. And
I can reverse it.
You can reverse it and your hand's way off the door.
Yeah,
but that gives you a lot.
It's going to start that way anyway. And it's
but your hands are way away from the heat, and it's just a lot easier to get to it. Yeah. So.
And I only had it going for an hour or so to test it. Yeah. And that was already getting hot. So that's
and that
really
gets red hot. Yeah, but it just saves you having to bother with a glove.
Yeah.
So we've got the bottom left is your primary, is your secondary, which is the one you do your control on. You want to stabilise that now, Bob? You have a go. The left one.
I know.
That one's off already.
Fully open, I take it.
We should be fully open,
so
yeah.
What do you want to go to? About 50?
Just till it's stable. Yeah, about halfway, probably. I mean, it's not even heated up yet, but it's pulling like a train.
You can hear.
It's windy out there today.
Yeah.
So we'll stabilise it some more once the black's burnt off on the inside. But it's clearing in there remarkably quickly. The vast majority of it is cleared off already, and it's only been going a few minutes. It's quick, I'll give it that. And it's only about halfway at the minute. So, yeah, you can feel it belting the heat out already.
I was well impressed with the trials we did yesterday.
I'm not surprised. Looks smashing. It looks the right part in there as well. Your other one looked nice too, right enough. But that's further forward than your last one.
Yeah.
And given you've got you've got plenty of hearth on there. Plenty of hearth on there. And as easy as much at the back. You can see the air vent down there. So you've got plenty as much at the back as what you have at the front. So there's loads of space in that fireplace. So we've been going, about 15 minutes? About 15 minutes, and it's getting nice and warm in here, and it's looking pretty spectacular. And the control on this, the inside is cleaned up already. It's pretty much just about all gone in that amount of time. So we just opened the door. The handle's not even hot yet, and the handle will get on hot. I've stood in front of this before, and it's like a nuclear power station. The heat this thing gives off, and that's only had about 2 kilos of fuel in it. It's not very much for the size of the unit. Listen to it. You can see, it's just, you can feel the heat. In fact, it's going to burn the hair off the back of my arms. Bob, if you've got hairy arms, you soon won't. You'll not need to wax. You'll not need to wax. The heat coming off that door is like, whoo. You need to keep your distance with this thing. I don't think you need gloves on the fire, especially not a stay cool handle, but I think you need full ones that go right up your arms like you're using a food tray, because it's intense.
It is impressive.
It is impressive. It heats up blooming quick, really quick. So that was it, only on half air. You can hear it with the full air. It's not noisy. You can hear everything in here, and the phone camera is brilliant at picking it up. But if we turn that right down, and that's both the air controls off now, but that's a big fire with a lot of air control, burning a really hot fast wood. And this has got the defrost stop out. But bear in mind, birch is fast and birch is hot. Takes a good 10 seconds or so to burn the oxygen off in there. And that's burning really nice. But you'll get a much more stable burn once you're on to having burnt that base layer without the stack. And there it goes. Just taking its time, steadying up. But that's layered. There's a couple of 2 or 3 layers of the fuel in there from having lit it. So you've still got the height in the pile with the air underneath it. So it will settle when we put the next lot in. Isn't that gorgeous? But that'll make a rubber bed in this.
I'm really, really pleased. I'm not saying that for anything to do with you or your film.
No,
but I've got something I'm happy that works and it looks good and
beautiful,
it's going to do exactly what I want it to do.
It's just stunning.
Really, really, really chuffed.
But there's something just really different about actually seeing the burning house. It's not on a test rig. It's not in a factory. He's in a home and being used. And this is taking no time at all. And it's chuntering out the heat. But it's really controllable. It's controllable, hey? It's cool. Not. It's just steady now.
That's what I wanted, controllable.
Yeah, it's just steady now. It's just steady. It's lovely. But when you ask it to wake it up and you put the air back in, and it takes a few seconds to feed it back in, it'll turn into a jet engine. And the bottom air's not open, that's just the top air. Because you open the bottom air as well. And yeah, it'll take off when it feeds that air in. It's quick. The control one is fabulous. That's the bottom air off again. Which you don't need. You only need that for getting it lit up to temperature. And then we do the top one. But we're going to, this is the top air control, no, it's at the bottom. You just do it slowly. And
you can see how quick it reacts.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, there's such a big difference. For a big unit, big units aren't typically known for having that amount of control. But this will come down right steady. That's our fast burning base layer. So once that's gone, it'll really steady up on the next load. And even at that, that's beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Bought Bob a grill set for inside for when he's got his mates over for his steak dinner. And we brought him one of our bigger Hellfire grills. There's 4 pieces in there and some screws in a little packet. And there's always an extra screw, so you're not finding that there's one missing. There's always one too many. Always 5 screws and 4 holes. Right, so when you put it together, this bit's your bumper bit at the back, in case we put, because we do a pizza stone for going in there as well. So you've got 2 uprights like that. Yep. And then your grill just screws on the top. Yep. So when you put the screws on the top, they're pre-threaded, so there's no nuts. You just screw it in that hole. Yep. And then this one, I use that for various different reasons. I do my naan breads and things on there from Rodel. But if you want to do pizzas, you need the pizza stone. Yeah. And I never thought of bringing a pizza stone.
Oh, don't worry about it. You've done so much.
I just like people being able to light their fire as much as what I do. And to me, it's just what I am. Like, I'm not happy without a fire. It's just everything. It's just such good fun. Makes your house your home. You're one of them. That's just stunning. Right, James, so I'm out near Wisbeach with Bob, who had his Somersault, his Clock Somersal, the big one, fitted just yesterday. And it's just smashing. It's lovely. And we're both really impressed with it, and Bob's been good enough to come and let me video it. And he's over the moon, I'm over the moon, and no disappointments. It's just spot on. Spot on, darling. So, yeah, well impressed with these. Happy to have them. And they're going to make a lot of people very happy that have big fireplaces that need a really high output stove, because this thing does kick it out. Bob's well impressed and really likes it.
I love it. I'm serious. It's what I wanted. Sarah Jane, I told Sarah what I wanted. I want controllable. I want big. I got friends round. She's recommended this, and I'm actually doing everything I wanted it to do.
I told Bob about this when I came to see you guys last year, when this was still in prototype stage, well before it was made. And Bob ended up buying something else meantime because he couldn't wait that long. And I don't blame him, because it has been a long wait. And he's pulled his new stove out, put this in because he didn't like his other new one. And this is just a different animal.
It's a world apart.
Yeah.
What I wanted was controllable, and this is
But
totally.
the fuel consumption, like he's grinning from ear to ear. He can't hide it. Neither of us can hide it because it's just so special. It's just lovely.
It'll probably be going all evening, and I'll be too hot by the end of the night.
But we've only got that first burn load in, and it's now getting down to chunky dead Edinburgh. It's on minimal air. It's stunning, and we're just going to go outside and have a look at the chimney because I'm saying to Bob, there'll be no smoke. It's fully up to temperature. There is no smoke. You get this right, you burn it at the right speed, the right temperature, and that's on quite a low air. There will be nothing out his chimney. Doesn't smoke back, pulls like a train,
Yep.
turns down beautifully, absolutely beautifully. And we're going to nip outside and go and have a quick look. I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. Now, that's the grate there on the bottom. And there's not much fuel. There's only that first load that you saw me putting in. I'm going to put my handle on it because the handle's hot. But you look at that in there. That is your hot ember bed coming in now, ready for Bob putting a single log in or two smaller ones or one great big one when he's ready. But we're going to go outside and have a look. There we go. So Bob's got two fires in there. Well, they're both for me. One's a very old one, but the other one isn't on. And the clock is, and there's not a single thing to be seen. Nothing. And that stove was only lit, what, about 20 minutes, half an hour ago?
Yeah.
There's not a thing to be seen. Couldn't do better. It's perfect. Spot on. Right, so it's been exactly 1 hour since we lit this. And that was my kindling load on small logs. And it's still going. And that's it, just ready for its first proper log in. And it's as clean as a whistle. And it's kicking out plenty, and it's turned right down. The air controls are both off, bottom wear and top air. Spotlessly clean. It's not roaring away. It's just nice, but that was a fast burning wood because it was birch. So when Bob gets on to putting oak or ash or whatever he's going to burn in there, it'll burn longer than what this will. But if that can do a full hour on kiln dried birch
On the startup.
and on its start-up load on full air and then taking it down halfway through to minimum, that's doing damn good. There's not a lot of stoves that size that you're going to get an hour out of on that minimal amount of fuel on start-up, and it's doing its job. Oh, and that fan is just not working. It doesn't work. So the other one's spinning away nicely, but yeah, whatever way I'm pointing at is the opposite side to what I'm pointing at. Is that one's a dead one. But this is just being spot on. It's not a skip to beat. So, yeah, looking just nice and steady.
Should have taken it off really, that fan, but never mind.
Yeah, it's just cracking. Yeah, James, you've nailed it. PM, and I think I'm probably just about all done here. I'm going to leave Bob to it. But look at how that's burning. It's got one single tiny little piece of birch that went in there. Probably about 500 grams, half a bag of sugar in a monster stove on a tiny amount of red ember, and it's still performing beautifully. And I would say the heat that's given out at the moment on that stove at that level is probably about 3 kilowatt. 3 kilowatt on something at the other end of the scale. When you load it up, you could definitely cremate bodies. Not that I'm suggesting you get into home cremations. And that is on minimal air with the DEFRA screw out. That is as low as it goes. But you know what? That is just staggering. Absolutely staggering. Can you tell we're happy? It's cracking on. It's now probably about 8 o'clock or something like that.
It is coming up to 7:15.
And there's bugger all left in that fire. There's hardly anything in there, and that was just that 500 gram-ish piece of kiln dried birch. And there's no air. Open your air vents, Bob, at the bottom.
Yeah.
Just twiddle them open.
Yeah, I forgot because I'm concentrating.
You probably don't need the bottom one, just the top. Right, they're both open now, that's fine. And it'll just pick away, no problem. And that's a teeny weeny bit in there again, because why burn more than you need? Because it's not cold, but Bob wants his fire, and I'd want my fire too. I might go home and light my cooker, actually.
It's new.
Yeah.
I don't want it to go out for a
No,
while.
I would either. It's such great fun, and it's gorgeous. There you go.
Shutting them down slowly last night.
It just does what you want it to do. Such a teeny weeny amount of fuel in comparison. It's such a big stove that'll do everything you want it to.
That'll be going all night now till I go to bed because I don't want to let it go out.
It's the tiniest stove and the tiniest log and the most massive firebox with a tiny bit of ember, and it's perfectly happy. It's gorgeous. Well done, and thank you ever so much, because it's just stunning, Bob. Love it.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. I want to go home and play with my fire now as well. Hi Bob, thanks for having me. I'm just home and passing over your bottle of wine. Thanks ever so much. I'm going to show Sky you've been chomping my shoes. What are you chomping toes for, Missy? Just as well, we've got shoes on. She says, hooligan. Yeah, you can't get them. They're protected. They're sunny proof. Sunny the toe chomper. Oi! Monkey. Monkey. You are a rat bag, aren't you? Oh.